Hi, my name is Paula Bailey, and I'm the author of Peaches and the 19 Cobras, and Peaches and Jake and the 19 Cobras Oh My, and Peaches and Jake Celebrate Christmas. I was looking for a rescue to replace a rescue that I had that had passed away. And so I started looking online and I noticed a write up on Jake. And it got my attention because he sounded amazing. And so I called about him and he was available. So I went to look at him the next day and he was perfect for me and for my lifestyle. So I brought him home that day. The write-up did say that he was an amazing dog, that they were just, the foster family was just learning things that he could do, and that he was very smart, and they knew that he would be a good dog. Okay, so I was looking for a replacement for a dog that I had lost, and I had seen online the write-up on Peaches, and I thought she would be perfect for Jake's companion. And so I called about her, and the lady I talked to at the shelter said that she was already taken. She had just been placed. So I was very, very disappointed. And so she said, well, we'll keep your name, and if something comes up, and you keep looking because something will show up for you. And I knew that. But I was very picky about what the type of dog that I was looking for because of my lifestyle. I travel in my RV, and so they had to be good travelers, and they had to be friendly with people and other dogs because we met strangers all along the way up here, and when we got to Maine, we saw a lot of new people too. So they had to be friendly. So I was pretty picky about who I chose. Well, anyway, had looked for about 2 more weeks after I couldn't get Peaches, and I didn't find anything that really suited my needs. So I was just about to go to get a puppy. And I was going on Saturday, and on Thursday, the shelter called me and said, are you still interested? Have you found a dog yet? And I said, no. And they said, are you still interested in Peaches? And I said, yes. And so they said, well, the place that they had placed her in, the home, hadn't worked out. And so she was available if I was interested. And I said, I am. And so I went the next day and I looked at her, and she was perfect. And so I brought her home that day too. And the minute that I took her in to meet Jake, now Jake was 3 years old when I adopted him. I'd had him for 3 years, so he was 6 years old. Peaches was 3 years old. The minute I took her in to meet Jake, it was like they had known each other forever. They bonded immediately. It was the most wonderful thing to see. And from then on, wherever you saw Peaches, you saw Jake. Or wherever you saw Jake, you saw Peaches. And they were just inseparable. If Peaches wanted something that Jake had, he would gladly share it with her. They never growled at each other in anger. They would play a lot and growl when they played, but that was not in anger. And they just had the best time. So yeah, it was a perfect match. Well, let's see. Jake was very protective of me and of Peaches. And he he would share things with Peaches that he was very protective, but he was also very giving. And he was a wonderful dog. He was very smart, probably the smartest dog I've ever had. He just knew what you needed and wanted, and he would deliver. but yeah, he just got along so well with other dogs and other people. Everybody loved Jake. Everybody. In fact, when Jake passed away, when I had to have him put down because he had cancer, the veterinary office, when I took him in to be put down, the veterinary office closed their office, and everybody came in to be with me and Jake when he passed away. It was that, he was just that kind of lover, you know. He really was. He was a great dog. Well, he was always on the lookout for anything that might be of danger to me. So when he was a good watchdog. He never really barked a lot other than being a watchdog, but he would let me know if there was something that wasn't right at the house, or if there was something that wasn't right, if somebody came up to the door, he would let me know. So that's the way he protected me. Peaches was she's just a sweet, lovable dog. She loves people, she loves other dogs, other animals, and she's very loving. Although she doesn't want you to hold her. She doesn't want to cuddle or anything like that. But she has just this way about her that she smiles. If you can imagine a dog smiling, she smiles, and Jake did too. Both of them, they just smiled all the time, and it was great to be able to take pictures of them when they were with me, because they were just happy-go-lucky and wonderful. And Peaches, with her little short legs, she is part corgi. So she has little short legs, and she attracts attention because she looks like a puppy. And she has the sweetest little face and the most expressive eyes. And when I wrote Peaches and the 19 Cobras, when I decided to do it from a dog's point of view, she was the one that I decided that would be the best, most expressive dog to take the pictures and to do the talking in the story. I decided that when COVID and the pandemic came about, that this was history and it needed to be documented. And I always documented my life. I want to go back just a little bit. I always documented my life because I do have a very fun and wonderful life. And so every year I would write a story or do a picture book, not really write a story, but I would do a picture book of what happened to me that year. And I have that in albums so that I can go back and I can look at my albums and I can see just exactly what I did when. And I always did that. Well, when COVID and the pandemic happened, I knew that was history. I needed to document it. And so I started taking notes. And then I decided that, well, everybody's going to be doing this, everybody's going to be writing a story about COVID. And so I decided to do mine a little different, and add a little twist, and I decided to do it from a dog's point of view. And Peaches was the dog that I decided to use because she's was the most expressive. So that's how I came to do Peaches and the 19 Cobras. When the pandemic and COVID-19 hit, um, it all you heard on the TV, radio, in the media was pandemic, COVID-19 this, COVID-19 that. It was very, very depressing and sad. It was such a sad time because people were dying from COVID-19 and people were being turned away from hospitals because they were just too crowded with people who were dying from COVID-19 and they were treating them. But anyway, so I decided that this needed to be documented. So I thought I was going to die. And so I started thinking about my friends and friends over the years and people that I lost contact with and but still cared very much about. And so I wanted to let them know that I still love them and I still thought about them. And so we had to wear masks when we went out and the paper masks. So I started decorating paper masks. And then I started decorating them for people, for my friends. And so I'd make 3 or 4 masks, I'd decorate them. And people love them. But anyway, I decorate them and take 3 or 4 of them. And I also found these little ceramic angels. And I personalized the angels for my friend, whoever I was sending the mass to. And I just said, thank you for being an angel in my life. And sent these to them. And they were thrilled. They were thrilled to get something from me. And I was thrilled to give them something because I wanted to let them know that I cared for them. And so then that kind of mushroomed into the fact that I wanted to make these little angels en masse for some of my workers that worked around my house, the people that cut my grass, my housekeepers, just people who did things for me, and also for the first responders, the firemen and the policemen in our area. And so I made angels for them and just said thank you for your service and for keeping us safe. And also for my doctors and their staff, I also gave angels to them. So it kept me busy, kept me out of trouble, and I loved doing it. Yes, yeah. That way, I was not only writing, documenting it for me, but I was documenting it for history for other people too. Well, when I found out that we were going to have to wear masks, I decided to make some fancy masks for me. And this was in addition to the paper masks that I decorated. And so I put some jewels. I took the little cone masks and I put some jewels on it and made them real fancy. And so I decided that Peaches and Jake, I made a mask for them, of course, and they needed to have their picture taken. Well, they decided that they didn't want their picture taken. And so, but I sat them down, and it was like a 3-ring circus. I would put the masks on them, turn around, get the camera. By the time I turned around, they had the masks off. And we're sitting there just kind of looking at me like, well, what's going on, Mom? Here we are. But finally, I was able, it took me about 2 hours to get the picture that you see. But they just, they were so funny, and they did not want those masks on. But we finally got a picture good enough for the book. If Peaches and Jake could talk, I think they'd say about me. Well, I think they'd say that Mommy rescued us, and she gave us a stable home with lots of love and good things to eat, and that Mommy loves us very much, and we love her very much too, and that we just have a good life. They're my family. Yeah, they're my babies. If Peaches were to be in a movie, it would probably be an adventure. She would, probably an adventure, but it would have some comedy and maybe a little mystery too. And the same way for Jake. Jake his story would be adventure if they were in there, and a little mystery and some comedy. Well, Molly is my latest rescue dog, and she was rescued from China along with 50 other dogs by a rescue in southern Florida. They sent a plane over to rescue these dogs, and so she is my latest rescue. She's only 5 years old now. I got her when she was 3. She's from China, and she is, I don't have enough material on her now to do a book, but I'm working on it. So there will be a book about Molly. It's just in the works right now. Well, Molly is very curious. She's afraid of thunderstorms. And she has a thunder vest that I put on her so that it helps her through some of the scary times, some of the loud noises and things. But she's very smart, and she and Peaches get along very, very well. And she's just a very loving. She requires a lot of attention or she wants a lot of attention. Let's put that. She loves people. And she just loves attention. So she wants all the attention. If somebody is petting Peaches, Molly comes up and she wants the pets. So that's just Molly. Romantic, could be romantic comedy, but she just her signature move, and this was from day one, is that she loves people, so if she sees somebody new, she'll run up to them, and then she flops on her back and wants her belly rubbed. So that's her signature move, and so it's telling people that she wants her belly rubbed, but she's not a threat. Out of Peaches, Jake, and Molly, I'd say that Molly's the real troublemaker. Well, I'd have to say right now that Molly does, because she's the most curious, and she likes to get in trouble, but she learns fast. Well, when COVID-19 came about, I decided to write the book and give it a twist, and Peaches heard on TV 19 Cobras as COVID-19, or COVID-19 as 19 Cobras, and so that's what she she and Jake were protecting people from is the 19 Cobras. They decided to protect people from the 19 Cobras. Well, COVID-19, of course, it was deadly. It was very dangerous. And 19 Cobras are deadly and they're very dangerous. I am a very positive person. Always have been and always will be. I think it came down from my family. My mother was very positive. And so that's where I get my positivity and my personality from. I don't like negativity, and so I try to see things in the positive way. And that's why wrote the book, because I wanted to tell people or convince people that it wasn't as bad as what they think it might be. I would agree that there, yes, that there's good in everything, and people just have to look for that. And it's just there was so much negativity and so much fear that was generated by the news and the public, or the news and TV and radio, that they needed to know that it's going to be okay. Things are going to be okay. And that's the way I look at it. I just know that there's always going to be something good come out of it. Unbelievable. I mean, just amazing. Who would have thought that a 75-year-old woman who's never written a thing in her life, not a poem, not a short story, nothing, would come up and author a book, but not only author, be a published author. It was amazing. When I held the first printed copy of Peaches and the 19 Cobras, I felt amazing. I just couldn't believe it, that I, at 75 years old, had written a book and was an author. Not only an author, but a published author. It was unbelievable. One of the most heartwarming reactions that I've received about the book is that my friends and family tell me how proud they are of me. And that means more to me than anything, I think. It's just the fact that they recognize that I've done this and they're proud. Oh, I don't have a secret. I have an amazing company that I work with, Stellar Literary. And a fantastic agent and advisor that he just has confidence in me and what I can do, and he works with a wonderful group of people too. So it's not anything that I've done, it's what my people have done that support me. My brand is A Wonderful Life, and the way I came up with this is that I was married to George Bailey. And if you're familiar with the movie It's a Wonderful Life, you know that George Bailey was the main character. Now, this is an old Christmas movie. It was made in 1946, I believe. And so it's been around for years, but it's still shown every Christmas. And so it's a classic. And Jimmy Stewart was George Bailey in the movie. Donna Reed was his wife, Mary. But anyway, yeah, it just, that's how I got my brand, Wonderful Life, because it is, and it was. My George Bailey was an amazing man. He was my second husband. We were married for 20 years, and 10 of those was a bonus because he had a heart transplant 10 years before he died. Now, I've been a widow for 22 years, and George was my life. He was a wonderful man. He always never let me know it, but he always put me first. And so, yeah, he just made my life easy. So if there's one thing that I want people to remember from my books, is that it's very important to care about people and do things that will help them be better people. Somebody had to take care of the people and put their lives on the line, because they were putting themselves in danger when they were caring for people with COVID-19. And so yes, so it's I just want people to know that there's always hope, and that it's important to care about people. The biggest lesson I've learned from my dogs is that it's good to share, and it's good to care for people. I would want children to realize that it's important to share with people, to care for people, and basically just be a good person. Empathy and kindness is very important in life, and everyone should be exposed to that. My personal favorite part of the book is the mask sequence with the dogs and the masks. It was fun to do. And although it was frustrating at times, but it was fun, and it's a funny part of the book. I love it. Matching masks. They are telling everyone on the news that if we go outside and are anywhere around people, we need to wear a mask. So Mommy decides it would be fun to make matching masks for us. I think she just needs something to do to keep her mind off the 19 Cobras. The masks are really pretty. They have jewels and sparkles and everything. Mommy puts hers on to show us how to wear them, and Jake and I look at each other and I say, "Oh, no, you don't. No way. That covers our nose and mouth and it will smother us." But Mommy has other ideas. She wants a picture, and she has her mind made up. And what Mommy wants, she usually gets, eventually anyway. I whispered in Jake's ear to get prepared, because Mommy had a big plan to try to get those new masks on us to take a picture, and we might get smothered. So we should try to act calm and nonchalant. But Jake doesn't act very well, or maybe he just doesn't know what nonchalant means, because he gets this panicked and mortified look on his face. See? So round and round we went. Mommy trying to get the mask on us to stay, and long enough to get a picture, and Jake and I determined we were destined to die if the mask covered our nose and mouth. Mommy would put a mask on each of us, turn around to get the camera, and by the time she turned back around, we had our masks off and were sitting there smiling and looking innocent. It's like a three-ring circus. Mommy described it later as pretty much like a three-ring circus. Whenever she had her back turned, Jake and I were getting our masks off and planning our next move. We were being pretty mischievous. One time, we ditched the mask and changed our bandanas so she wouldn't recognize us, then ran and hid in the living room. But she found us, and I think we were snickering and chuckling too loud. We couldn't help it. It was just so funny, and we were having so much fun playing tricks on Mommy. The final straw. It got to be pretty comical, but I think the final straw was when we had the masks on top of our heads. That's when Mommy gave us the look, and Jake said, "Uh-oh, I think she means business now. We better shape up and do what she wants us to do, or we might get spanked." I still don't know what spank me is, but I don't think it's good. It was a disaster. So we let Mommy put our masks on us to get the picture. But my mask was too big and kept going over my eyes, and I couldn't see. And Jake said his mask was too girly with the jewels and sparkles, and that he was a big boy. And anyway, his strap broke and his wouldn't stay on. We got new masks. So Mommy made us some new masks, and we are very happy now. Jake likes his because it doesn't have any sparkles or jewels on it and is more manly. And I love mine because I can see and it sparkles and it matches my bows. But the very best thing is we aren't smothering after all. Well, when my husband was living, we traveled quite a bit in an RV, a large RV. And we towed a Jeep behind it. Well, when he passed away, I liked traveling that way because I could take my two dogs with me when I traveled. And it was just a nice way to travel. Well, I live in two places. I live in Vero Beach, Florida, for this wintertime, and I have a summer cottage in Belfast, Maine, on Penobscot Bay. And so I travel between the two places. So I travel in a small RV. It's a 23-foot RV. I tow my car with it, and my two dogs can go with me. So that's the way I travel. Now, I travel a lot differently than most people would, or that I used to when I was younger, because I like to travel 3 hours a day and then spend 2 nights in a state park campground. That gives my dogs a chance to rest and play, and gives me a chance to rest and enjoy the area. And I've met several friends along the way, so I can meet them and they can come and camp with me if they want to in their RVs. Or I can just go to their home and visit with them. So it's fun. Yes, I made a custom bed for them to be in the front with me because they were they were competing against each other for the front seat. So I decided to make a custom seat for them that extends from the passenger side door all the way over to my chair, and from the back of the passenger seat up to the console, up to the front. And so they can lay down and sleep, they can sit up and look out the windows, they can just be comfortable. And they stay there the whole trip. They don't try to wander around the RV while I'm driving. Yes. Yes, it's Christmas all year for me. It started with COVID because COVID was such a depressing time. And so I decided to leave my Christmas trees up and during COVID. And so I did. At the time, I only had about 5 trees. And they came down every year. But then I started adding to my trees. I have wonderful, beautiful trees that I have in my house. They're all themed, and they all have ornaments that I've collected over the years on my travels. People have given me ornaments, so they all have a great meaning to me. And I love looking at my ornaments and remembering where I got them from and who I got them from, this type of thing. But anyway, now I have 32 Christmas trees in my house. They stay up all year long. And so if it's a dreary day, if it's raining, if it's just overcast or whatever, I can light my trees and it's like a fairy wonderland in my house. And I light them every night. So my neighbors probably think I'm crazy. I don't care. It's me. If they don't like it, they don't have to look. I hope if you pick up a copy of my book, Peaches and the 19 Cobras, that you enjoy reading it and you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it for you.